part of the fabric of our lives. We see it everywhere. An important word to remember while discussing this topic is anthropogenic sources of carbon emissions. Anthropogenic quite simply means man-made, and why it matters is because there are other natural sources of carbon emissions. The decomposition of matter, for example, is a natural process in which it emits carbon emissions. The anthropogenic sources of carbon emissions are the ones we can have an impact on. These can be from the burning of fossil fuels, the making of cement, etc. Thinking of it this way, in an hourglass, sand falls from one side to another side at a certain rate in a certain time. Similarly, we have a cap on how much carbon we can emit. We have already consumed 75% of our budget and only 25% is remaining. We can squeeze the neck of the hourglass to decrease the rate at which sand falls and impact temperature increase less than 2 degrees Celsius. There are various ways to decrease our carbon footprint already, but we have designed an app that is fun and exciting and solves this problem at the same time. Our app's name is Carbon Cutting Challenge. There are many ways to reduce carbon emissions already. However, as a social responsibility, we all have a stake in this. The easiest thing each one of us can bring impact is through self-transportation, through our own cars. This is the reason I came up with this Carbon Cutting Challenge app. Carbon Cutting Challenge is a challenge where people around the world participate to become the most eco-friendly and sustainable individual and become first in the leaderboard. Upon vehicle registration, the app acquires information like distance traveled, fuel consumption, etc. from the integrated engine software and calculates the carbon emissions on a daily basis. Individuals with less carbon footprint will lead the challenge. The app also gives tips to decrease carbon emissions. The way the app works is quite simple. Asked on your selection of automatic or manual, app backend analytics calculates how much carbon your car emitted for that day and keeps tab with your biz in this challenge. To make it more competitive, Leaderboard provides insight on how you are performing in this challenge and shows the recommendations on how you can improve, which are enveloped with integrated engine software. My app is built in Thunkable, a platform where you can use code blocks to build apps. I use components like buttons, text inputs, lists, etc. to make the UI of my app. To calculate the carbon emissions, I multiplied the distance traveled by the fuel's emissions per hour. Just to give you context about the impact my app Carbon Cutting Challenge can have. We emit about 30 to 35 gigatons of carbon per year. To increase the duration before we hit our carbon cap, we need to put our part in it. A typical passenger vehicle emits about 4.6 metric tons of carbon per year. That means that my app can have a 20% reduction in all of our carbon footprints. Okay friends, happy carbon cutting.